everyone, welcome to One Tech World. My name's Liz Hardwick, and in this session together we'll be looking at digital productivity for managing busy workloads. I've got some slides to share with you, some top tips along the way, some activities for us to do together, and also please feel free to engage in the Q&A section in the chat as well as we go. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and first thing we're going to do is just look at what we're going to do with this session. First up, we're going to look at three main top productivity tips that I've got for you today, with a focus on workloads and how to rework your workloads. And we're also going to actually do in the session together some quick reflection prompts that I do with my clients and groups and teams. You can use yourself in this session now, but also can be something that you take away and use day in, day out if you want to. And then we're going to use our digital productivity wheel. It's a tool I've created similar to the Wheel of Life, if you've heard that before, within coaching or mentoring, and my take on that's around digital productivity. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into that together today. If we haven't met before, welcome. I am one of the Tech 100 women. You'll notice that's one of the images on my slide among many hats that I wear as well. I'm a professional speaker, fly globally around the world and do lots of virtual stuff like this as well. And normally my topics around digital productivity. So when we talk about workloads today, as much as we all might have our work hats on, workloads could also be the different hats that you wear. So I sit on a few non-profit organisations and boards that do quite a bit of voluntary work. You might do similar as well. So these are absolutely transferable to whatever hats you have with your life as well. So if we haven't met before, welcome. And if we have met, then hopefully I can still share some extra tips with you too. But if you have joined me before, this is one of the questions that I always start us off with. How productive, not busy, and they are two different words, have you been this week so far? Now, depending on what day of the week it is, what time of year you're looking at this, you can reflect in. So just want you to, if you're live with me, pop some numbers in the chat. 1 is, Liz, I've got some work to do. 10 is, you know what? I could not be any more productive if I tried. So there's no right or wrong answers with that. So please do pop that into the chat for me. And again, this is a reflective, useful tool that you can use at any point in your week, any point in your month, any point in your day. If you think, actually, how am I feeling? Actually, I do feel that productive. This can be a really useful tool to maybe delve a little bit deeper and ask the next question of why might you do that? And workloads can generally be one of the answers to some of those questions. So pop a number in the chat if you haven't already, and then we'll move on. So in no more than 3 words, you can share this in the chat if you want to, or you can reflect on your own if you don't feel comfortable sharing. No more than 3 words. Share how you feel about your workload right now. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to pop in some words if you are doing that in the chat together, and see if there's anyone else that you resonate with as well that's sharing similar words. If you're doing that on your own and you just want that as some personal reflection time, this can also be another reflective tool that we use as part of our daily or weekly routines as well. And it's not really digital, but digital does have an element within that. So I want us to start off just with some simple reflective tools to help us along our way. Okay, brilliant. All right, if you've shared, thank you very much. So my first digital resource I want to share with you in this session is our digital productivity wheel. So there's a QR code that you can go grab the digital download, pop in an email address, and you can download a variety of different formats. So you could print it out and come back and have a look at that some other time. You can color it in with the different sections, or you can use it digitally. If you use an app like GoodNotes, you can download it digitally and write over the top of it if you want to be digital. So there's lots of flexibility within that. We've got some PDF and JPEG versions depending on what your preference is of formats you can pop in a link there as well. When you pop in your email address, you'll also get signed up to my Monday weekly email newsletters. So you can always unsubscribe if you want to, but I would hope that that will also be an added support to your digital productivity journey as well. So appreciate those bits of text on my screen are way too small for even me to read, so I'm not expecting you to. So I'm just going to come out of my slides that I'm sharing today. And I just want to show you a zoomed in version of that resource. So if you're in that time popping in your email address, downloading your version as well, then we can go through that together. So the idea being that we can reference a number almost in the same way we just did for the how productive versus busy do you feel you are, rate a number from 1 to like, Liz, I've got a lot of work to do, to 10 being awesome, could not be any more on top of things. These are the different sections we've got. So very quickly, I want you not to take too much time to think about it, but instant number, and that will help you understand where you are on your digital productivity journey. So time management, energy management, focus management, work-life balance, prioritizing tasks and activities, routines and habits, managing digital files, folders and systems, and managing digital communications. Now, as you could guess, if you've done the wheel of life before, there is an element to each one. Each section on my wheel actually has lots of supported resources as well. So where you've just got that productivity wheel from productivityclub.co.uk, you'll also find loads of freebies and resources that you can download to supplement your journey on that as well. So we're only going to focus on 3 of these elements in our time together today because time is short. But you could go back into the productivityclub.co.uk and get some more resources for the others as well. Just like any sort of coaching resource, you might not necessarily want to focus on the lower number, but what is important to you right now? And I would never try and do all of them at once. I would just pick 3 and say, this is what I'm going to focus on. So I've guesstimated based on the people who are part of One Tech World what sort of things you might want to focus on. So I'm going to share 3 of those with you today. So we'll cancel out of that. I hope you've enjoyed doing that. Again, that can be an action off the back of this session to go and download that resource if you haven't already. And you can colour it in and make it artistic if you want to, or you can just use that as a reflective tool and pop the numbers into a note document if you don't want to print it out. So I'm going to talk about time. So time management work makes a lot of sense for one of the segments in our productivity wheel. So I want to talk to you about Lydia. Lydia is one of my clients. She and her team were wanting to see if there was anything they could do around increasing the time that they spent more focused, more doing the right things and less procrastination. So if we have met before, you'll have heard me talk about this bit, but I cannot do this session without sharing Pomodoro process with you. So for each top tip, I'm going to share a process. I'm going to share an app, a digital productivity tool that goes along with that. So what is Pomodoro? Pomodoro is taking an activity and being single focused on that activity. And or if you're in a group, if you're in a team, virtually or in person, this works really well. You're all deciding what your activity is going to be, putting on a 25-minute timer, and then getting focused on it, getting our heads down, activities done, emails off, notifications on silent, whatever we need to try and reduce the distractions that we have. And then after that 25-minute time has gone off, we have a 5-minute break. Now, working with Lydia and her team, they now on a regular basis do Pomodoro time slots together so that they're not disrupting each other. They're not when someone's in a flow or in a really focused state of mind, someone's not coming in and disrupting that and then having to start again. It takes up to 16 minutes to refocus on the task in hand if you do get distracted, even if it's just a can you just or a hi, have you got 5 minutes, then that's already distracted you regardless of whether you offer to help them or not. So 25 minutes of single focused activity time 5-minute break. And then in the traditional Pomodoro style created by Francis Cirillo, he would say 4 times to repeat that, then a larger break. So if you think doing that in the morning or an afternoon and then a break or lunch or close for the rest of the day, you can do that virtually together as well. So the app is a Pomodoro app. I absolutely love this. There is a free version of it. It's more than enough for most people, but I do pay for the pro versions of the things that I use day in, day out. As tech people, we totally get that, you know, people are creating these apps for us. So I like to support the programmers and the creators if I can by using the pro versions. Pro version gives you lots of other extra features, but you might just find that that's enough for you. And then the reason why I love this and the tech comes into it even further is the Pomodoro app will actually link and track in your, and this is just a screenshot of my Google Calendar for an example, it will track what I've done and when if I've taken a particular task from Pomodoro, my Pomodoro process. It's also now just recently renamed itself to Time Pie. So Pomodoro is still the process. Pomodoro is the app that you can look for, but they have just recently rebranded. So check that out as well. And then that's an ability to think, right, what have I done this week? That could be an easy way to answer the question of how productive am I being this week? Oh yeah, actually, I've done loads of things. So a couple of digital productivity resources there that you can really get to work on. So for my second element, I want us to focus on how we could just some top tips on reclaiming your energy. So we've looked at time, and Pomodoro is a great starter for us to do that together. So reclaiming your energy. So I'd like to introduce you to Sarah. Sarah's one of my one-to-one clients. She's also been part of my Productivity Club membership for a while. And Sarah came to me, she works for herself. She has a lot of flexibility in her schedule. And she was at the point she wanted to craft a new schedule for herself and feel more optimized in the way she was doing things. So she had lots of spinning plates. She had lots of workload, and she didn't know quite what to do and when. Now, when is the element that's really important for energy? So as much as we talk about time management, Pomodoro is a great way for us to kind of organize our time and make sure we're doing things productively time-wise. But there's an element of energy that we need to think about as well. And so I'm going to share with you the element that is chronotype. So you are one of 4 people. You might have heard of this being called night owls or early birds before, but there is actually a scientific process created by a guy called Michael Breus, who is well renowned as a sleep doctor as well as understanding chronotypes. There's a big book that you can find out absolutely minutiae detail about when to do everything. And the behind the scenes of it is, and just give you a quick overview with our time today, you are one of these 4 people. And it's so much more productive to understand when is the optimal time for you to do a particular task. And so you can better work your workload where possible. You can say, okay, well, I'm really productive in the mornings. So rather than doing my emails, which actually is quite a low energy task, I'm going to use all my energy when I have it as optimal as possible first thing in the morning and do my big, intense, high energy activities at that point in the day. So you can go to powerofwhenquiz.com. You can figure out which chronotype you are. But if you're live with me today, if you want to check in the chat which one you think you are, you can have a guesstimate. You'll be one of 4. You might resonate with some of these. I'm a bear. I like getting up with the sun cycle. So I find it quite a struggle getting up when it's dark outside. And my optimal time to do stuff is just before lunch. So I've got a bit of a time motivation to finish for lunch, but also I've been able to do the easy tasks. So I might do a first pass of my emails in the morning, have a coffee, figure out my to-do list, look at my plan for the day. Then I'll do my optimal high energy tasks and then I dwindle towards the end of the day. Lions, you're the early risers of the world. Well done, you. And that's definitely not me, but if you're an early bird, then that will probably generally fit into that. Wolf, the wolves, your optimal is after lunch. You might be the people that are up later in the evening, have more creative ideas in the evenings. And dolphins, there's only a small percent of you, but you are the insomniacs. You're the light and sound and sensitives of the world. You're always on, and you're in sort of like an always on mode. So have a look at those, and then have a think if you can craft your schedule. So this is again another Google Calendar. I love my Google Calendars. It's Google Calendar to optimize when is the best time to do certain things. So have a think about that and let me know which one you think you are. So our third point I want to share with you today is reclaiming your focus. Okay, so this is very useful for workloads. I'd like to introduce you to my one-to-one client, Chris. Chris works for the ambulance service in England. He's got lots of stripes. He's quite high up in the Northwest Ambulance Service, and he's very on rotas. He's very overwhelmed workloads, and he was struggling to prioritize and figure out how best to put the focus into different things. We started to understand that he's a dolphin, which makes sense with his sporadic schedule. He's always on some days, some days nights. So we talked about the Eisenhower matrix. So this is just a nice little pretty example. You can also find a downloadable and printable version on productivityclub.co.uk as well. There's a free resource for you there. The idea being, how do we organize and prioritize our sections? So 4 quadrants. You can do this digitally. You can do this on a piece of paper as well. What's high importance? High urgency. What's low importance but high urgency? What's high importance and low urgency? So that would be scheduled in effect. And what's low urgency, low importance? Can we get rid of it? Can we say no? Can we bin it off? We're so quick to say yes to things sometimes, and actually helping our prioritizing, helping our workloads. It might be that the high urgency but low importance could be delegating as well. That's where that image comes in there. Okay, so top tool for you there. You know I love an app by now. There's a couple that I found. One works for Android. Android is that My Effectiveness to do comma tasks. So that gives you a nice little 4 boxes to type in your notes digitally. Or for the Apple users amongst us, it's called Do Matrix. And you'll see there's a couple of little screenshots on my screen there. So we're running out of time. Please do get in touch if you have any questions. Hopefully along your way together, we've started to look at a couple of apps that might work for you, a couple of small quick concepts that can get you going on your time, energy, and focus. So I'd love you to just reflect on what one top tip will you try to help manage your workload with. So is it have a go at the Pomodoro method to increase your time capacity and try and do things by a time limit? We're almost gamifying things to some extent. Are we looking at energy? You're going to find out more about your chronotype, look into your calendar and see when you might be able to move things to that's more optimal for you. You'll find that if you're not struggling to do something at a time zone or a time slot that is suboptimal for you, if you move it to a more optimal time zone, you'll feel the workload ease off slightly because it will be less stress. You'll be more in the zone when you're doing it. And also there'll be more opportunity to actually get some of those things done quicker than you would have done struggling when it's the suboptimal time for you. And anyway, that's our time together. So I'd love to share with you productivityclub.co.uk. We have free online content, downloadables. We also do 4-week sprints where you do something every day, and we have a kind of collaborative, supportive environment. We also do online virtual co-working on a monthly basis. There's loads of e-learning courses that support. You can find out more about the other segments of our digital productivity wheel. It's been great to find out more about where you're up to and facilitate some of the conversations around digital productivity. Please do get in touch if you'd like to find out more. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your One Tech World conference. Enjoy the rest of the sessions, and any questions, give us a shout. Take care, everyone. Bye.